This comes to us from abc4.com. It's another one, guys. Short eyes. Trying to do short eyes. A Roy City police officer has been arrested and booked on suspicion of sexually abusing 2 children. The officer is identified as Ryan Estes, 38. He faces 5 first-degree felony charges, which includes 2 counts of rape for a child and 3 counts of aggravated sexual abuse of a child. All 5 charges date back to 2016. 5 years.
Also a state lawmaker and believes a bill he's proposing will help bring officers back to work.
Fox 13's Eliana Sheriff explains what Chief Gwynn believes is a major issue impacting officer retention.
I'm seeing a lot of support by former law enforcement officers who would actually come back if this bill were to be successful.
Roy Police Chief and state lawmaker Matthew Gwynn knows all too well there's a shortage of police officers statewide.
We have less people enrolling in the academy, right? We have less people graduating from the academy. And between 2011 and 2020, we know that 40% of those that even got jobs have, left law enforcement.
2 female victims were interviewed in connection to the Estes case, and according to the probable cause statement that was filed, the victims were between the ages of 10 and 13, and they were allegedly assaulted in both Davis and Weber County. Both girls told investigators Estes had inappropriately touched them multiple times. One says she intentionally made sure to never be alone with him thereafter. Now, the statement also said that Estes held a position of trust with those he victimized. Well, yeah, he's a cop. For a lot of kids or a lot of younger people, because remember, they were listed as children. Rape of a child, abuse of a child. So a lot of these young children, 10 to 13, yeah, and they trust cops. Hi, Mr. Police Officer. How you doing, little boy? Hey, you want to take a ride in my police car? You can work the siren. Woo, 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 woo.
Registered sex offender who was arrested over the weekend accused of trying to kidnap and rape a 10-year-old girl.
Police say he spotted her on Friday night at a Texaco gas station near 44th South and 19th West. Fox 13 investigative reporter Adam Herbets spoke to detectives on this disturbing case.
Well, the suspect in this case, Richard Palmer, has been on the sex offender registry since he was convicted in 2007 for unlawful sexual activity with a minor. Take a look. This is not his mugshot, but it is his most recent photo on the sex offender registry website. Police say the 10-year-old victim went to the gas station to buy a snack. She saw Palmer and immediately she noticed red flags, or as she describes it, he made her not feel good. Then when she left on her bike, he followed, grabbed her by the neck, and she screamed, scaring him to the point where he stopped.
It's ridiculous, man. And this guy will probably get fired. He'll get 3 years probation. And he'll go on and be a security guard somewhere at Toys R Us.
It sounds like what his plan was to take her behind the house and rape her at that point.
Police say the little girl did everything right in this case, but the next step was trying to find the suspect. Police say they were able to get pretty clear surveillance video from the gas station, grab a license plate, and match it to this sex offender's house. And pretty quickly, one of the sergeants recognized the address from a different case involving a sexual assault. Police say because Palmer was on the sex offender registry, that made it much easier to find him. And when they did, they spoke to him and he very quickly confessed, saying that his goal was to take the little girl behind a vacant house and have sex with her. Police say there were 2 other men with Palmer around the time of the attempted kidnapping, but they were not involved. They also say the little girl is doing okay. She was not injured. But of course, understandably, her family is very upset.
Chief Gwynn says here in Roy, they're down about 10% in patrol, which could affect response times in the event of an emergency.
I do understand the labor shortage, and I understand that we're all fighting for candidates from the same employment pool. But the reality is cities and counties have an obligation above all else for providing public safety to their residents.
He believes the problem dates back to 2011 when a bill passed by the legislature upped the number of years required for retirement from 20 to 25. It also added a cooling off period of a year before retirees could return to public service because of concerns about double dipping from public payrolls.
We have people that actually want to maybe retire from law enforcement, but they want to come back as a teacher, right? They enjoyed their environment as a school resource officer, and so then now they want to go in the classroom, and we're telling them that they can't do that.
Gwynn tried to pass it last year, but it failed to get anywhere on Capitol Hill. He says his colleagues in the legislature are more supportive of this new proposal.
This bill has already moved farther than my last bill did.
This bill goes back to a 20-year system and changes the one-year cooling off period to 60 days.
And I'm looking to just roll those two back.
And he says salary increases aren't enough to solve the problem.
Now the state needs to step up and correct what it did, at least partially, in 2010.